Hi and welcome to this week's 10x Leadership video. Thank you very much for tuning in. This week we're going to be looking at successful leaders have a growth mindset. I'm going to tell you why that's the case. So in episode 30, last week's video, I talked about why perfect is bad for you, for leaders and their teams. And in it, I talked about growth mindset. So that's why I thought it'd be useful just to talk about what growth mindset is, where it's come from, etc. So it's based on a book by Dweck. You can see there a million copy bestseller. So she really knows what she's talking about, and the things that she talks about in her book you can apply to yourself and your teams, and it really is going to make a massive difference. If you haven't already got the book, I recommend you go out and buy it. I'll put a link to Amazon and some other places to buy it in the description of this video. So, what is growth mindset? Growth mindset is the opposite of a fixed mindset. Okay, well, what's a fixed mindset? Well, we'll cover both of those things in a minute. So really, a growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, learning and dedication. And the key word in all of that for me is belief. It's about us, giving ourselves permission to do those things, to continue to grow. In contrast, a fixed mindset is the belief that our qualities are set and they're sort of set in stone. They can't change. They're innate. And once you've got a set of abilities, that's all you can have. The good news is that Carol's book and lots of other research shows that if you have a growth mindset, if you have a belief that you can continue to learn, that's exactly what will happen. Your brain will become more elastic, more able to learn. Equally though, if you have a fixed mindset and you believe that there's nothing that can be done, then funny old thing, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're just going to get stuck where you are. And as I've said a couple of times in other videos, if you're not going forwards, you're actually going backwards, because the world continues to spin, people continue to develop, and in relative terms you'll just be going backwards. And the way to spot people with fixed mindsets is they say things like this: I'm just not good at this. And really what they mean is they're not good at it, but they're not prepared to put any effort in. They've sort of given up, which is that second point. I think it's all too hard, which is the third point. It's easier just to not put some effort in, just think can't be done, I'm just going to stay where I am. And for me, thinking back to one of the other videos, the ladder of accountability, the fixed mindset is for me the bottom half of that ladder. And again, if you haven't already seen that video, go and have a look. This is episode 31, so there's not many not many videos to look through on the channel. Be quite easy to find, but you'll see that the bottom half is about people blaming others, hoping that something's going to happen, or just ignoring the problem. That's what's happening here with a fixed mindset. It's all too difficult. Really, I'd like somebody else to solve it for me. I can't get any better than I already am. And again, in contrast, the growth mindset is people who are interested in just trying and trying to develop, and seeing challenges that will help them to grow. And again, in terms of the ladder of accountability, for me, this is people in the top half, the ones who are making things happen for themselves. So say, if you haven't seen that video, I'd also recommend that. Go and have a look. So just coming back to the work that Carol did, and you'll see this when you read the book. Carol and she's the woman down the bottom left hand corner, by the way. She did work with children, I think it was ages 9 to 12, and she found basically that if you train them to have a growth mindset, there were sort of 8 main benefits. And what I'm going to do is talk you through the findings. So the first one was they all had enhanced academic performance. So children with a growth mindset are much more likely to embrace learning and persist through challenges. And they saw improved grades in test scores over time. So it's not an overnight thing, but they did see that they were getting better and better in tests as they were following these kids. And the good news is all the things that I'm going to be talking about don't just apply to kids, they apply to all of us. They apply to you, they apply to me, they apply to your colleagues, to members of your team. It's just that we need to know about this so that we can do something about it. What it also did was it gave them increased resilience. So it helped them, the growth mindset helped them develop resilience, and they learned to view setbacks and failures as opportunities to grow, as I mentioned on the previous slide, rather than indicators of their ability. So they weren't put off by setbacks and failures, and they didn't think, well, that's it, I'm just hopeless at this. They just, they saw those setbacks and failures as opportunities to learn more. And that's a really, really powerful message. The other bit is about greater motivation. So children who believe that their intelligence and abilities can be developed were much more motivated to put effort in and to try new strategies to overcome difficulties. And if you think about it, that would be obvious, wouldn't it? If you thought something was impossible to do, you probably would give up. But if you think it's possible to achieve, or a problem is possible to overcome, then you're going to try and find ways to do it. You just, your mind tells you, well, there's a way of doing this, I just haven't worked out what it is. And I just need to find out what it is. And that's what Carol found with these kids. What she also found, though, was that they had better social relationships. So kids who had growth mindsets fostered better social relationships. They were more open to feedback, more empathetic, and more supportive of others. And some of that is because, they're not in conflict or competition with everyone. People with a growth mindset see that they can be good, but others can also be good. And it's not a zero-sum game. If somebody else is good, doesn't mean that you won't be. That just frees, or in this case, freed up kids to have better social relationships with their peers and, I was going to say colleagues, but their fellow pupils in school. In addition, what she found was that kids had a higher self-esteem. So kids with a growth mindset tended to have a higher self-esteem because they base their self-worth on effort and improvement rather than their innate ability. And again, when you stop and think about it, I think this is quite obvious as well, that if you're not basing your self-worth on what you're good at, because you know that you can be good at all sorts of things, you're much more likely to feel confident about who you are as a person. You don't have to show that you're better than everyone else to be good, to be worthy of something, of people's attention or praise. It's everyone could continue to grow, so that sort of that got cancelled out, and that wasn't the thing that gave them self-esteem. The other bit was about reduced fear of failure. So they were less afraid of failure and more willing to take risks, and that led to greater innovation and creativity. And again, seems obvious when you see it written down, but if you're not worried about something, if I said to you, what would you like to try if there was 100% chance of success, you'd try all sorts of things. But lots of people, when they think they might fail, don't do it. They're worried about looking like a fool, or feeling stupid, or or I suppose the world just reinforcing that they're not good at something. But again, that's an absolute, it's not a relative. So if you think, well, I'm not good at it, but I can work towards solving it, which is the growth mindset that the kids had, it's not a problem anymore. And they don't see it as failure, as I've mentioned already. They see setbacks and failures, as we call it, as opportunities to continue to learn. And again, if you're not worried about failing, you're going to be much more creative about the things that you try. You're going to think, well, I'll give that a go, because what's the worst that can happen? It might not work. Doesn't matter. So for me, this is a fantastic. One of the fantastic benefits of this. There are lots, but this is really, really good, especially if you're in a space where you are trying to solve problems. And linked to it, and again, not surprisingly, it improved problem-solving skills. So by seeing challenges as solvable problems, they enhanced their problem-solving skills and became more adept at finding solutions. And again, if you think about it, if you've got a problem and you thought it was impossible, again, you'd just stop trying, wouldn't you? But if you thought that there was a problem, a way of solving the problem, and you just hadn't discovered what that was yet, you would try lots of different ways of fixing it. And one of those ways will solve the problem. And that's exactly what the kids are doing. And that's just by having a growth mindset. And the last item, the last sort of real benefit, was lifelong learning attitude. So it was instilling a growth mindset in them in an early age, encouraged them to love learning and be curious. And that sort of set the foundation and set them on the path of continuous personal and professional development. And for me, one of the key words here is the curiosity piece. I know lots of people who, they're not interested in lots of things. People with a growth mindset tend to be interested in all sorts of things. They want to know why things work, how things work. When I'm talking to my mum and dad each week, we go off on some very strange conversations, because we're having a conversation and then we go, well, I wonder why, I wonder why they say that phrase, or I wonder where that comes from, or I wonder how that works. And we go off and do a bit of research while we're talking, and find the answer and then talk about it. And you might be sitting there thinking, they're a bit weird. Doesn't matter. That's just how we are. So 8 really, really good benefits. And I hope some of those are resonating with you and making you think, actually, I'd like to be able to do some of that, or I'd like my team to be able to do some of those things. For me, one of the other things that came from Carol's book is a very small word, the word yet. And this, for me, if you do nothing else, having watched this video, just do what I'm going to be telling you over the next few minutes with the word yet. It looks like a very small and insignificant word, but it has an absolutely massive impact. And this, for me, is the sort of key of the mindset piece. And let me try and illustrate that for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some statements about me and my life. And I'm not going to use the word yet. And just as I'm saying them, just listen to them. Think about how they make you feel. Think about what it is that I'm telling you. Think about what the sort of underlying message is that I'm giving you as well. And whether it feels like it's something that I'm going to continue to do, or whether it's something, that's final. So the first one is, I can't speak Spanish. I'm not an advanced motorcyclist. I didn't work out how to fix the problem you asked me to solve. So with that one, imagine that you're my boss, and you've asked me to go off and do something. And I come back and I say, I didn't work out how to fix the problem you asked me to solve. I don't know how to help Fred, somebody in my team, understand what's stopping him from performing. And I don't know how to increase the number of people watching the 10x Leadership channel. For me, all of those things are things that somebody with a fixed mindset would be saying. And if you look at them, all of the statements have got negative connotations. I can't, I'm not, I didn't, I don't, and I don't. And also, do they suggest I'm going to be, let's just take the first one. I can't speak Spanish. Does it suggest that I'm going to do anything about it? I don't think it does. I mean, the truth is I can speak a bit of Spanish. I can't speak Spanish well. I've been learning for ages. I'm going to continue to learn. That statement, though, doesn't say that. That statement just says, I can't speak Spanish. End of story. So these are the sorts of things that people with a fixed mindset will say. And the reason that I think yet is so important is because I'm going to go through the same exercise now, but I'm just going to add that magic word. And again, listen to the sentence, listen to what I'm saying, listen to the context of the message, and decide whether you think it sounds like it's final, the thing I'm going to say, or whether I'm actually going to be doing some things about those activities. So let's have a look. I can't speak Spanish yet. I'm not an advanced motorcyclist yet. I didn't work out how to fix the problem you asked me to solve yet. I don't know how to help Fred understand what's stopping him from performing yet. And finally, I don't know how to increase the number of people watching the 10x Leadership channel yet. I mean, that last one I do know. And what I'd like you to do for me, please, if you would, do me a favour, just click subscribe. If you also like and you also share this, that'd be fantastic. If you click on the notification bell as well, that'd be superb. That just makes sure that more people get to see this video. When they're searching for leadership videos, this channel will come up if you click subscribe, and it will allow us to reach more people and help more people on their leadership journey. But look at those sentences. With just one word difference, they make a massive difference to the context. The third one, I didn't work out how to fix the problem you asked me to solve yet. That to me suggests that I'm still working on it. I know that I've got to fix it. I've got ownership of the problem. I'm still working on it. I'm trying different solutions. Just leave it with me. I'm going to fix it. Whereas the previous sentence, without it, just killed it dead. I've failed, basically. And all of these are the sorts of things that people with a growth mindset would say. And I've been using the word yet for many years now, and I have to say it has made a massive difference to my mindset. You would think it wouldn't make a lot of difference, but what we're doing is sort of tricking our brain into giving ourselves permission not to have solved something at this point, but give us permission to continue to work on it. And what it also does then is encourage us to do that, do exactly that thing, to try and solve that problem, using, as we saw with the kids, different methods that I haven't already tried, just to keep going and fix it. So, as I say, if you do nothing else, just start using the word yet. Encourage your team to do that, and just observe what a difference it makes to you, your team, your colleagues, and everyone else. So, as I say, a brilliant book by Dweck. Go out and buy it, go and read it, start doing this sort of stuff, and you will see a massive difference. So, given this is a leadership channel, I just wanted to talk specifically about the importance of a growth mindset for leaders. And there are 5 things I want to talk about on this slide. So, the first is, again, building on what we talked about with the kids, resilience and adaptability. Growth-minded leaders view challenges and setbacks as opportunities to learn and to grow. They're more resilient, they adapt quicker, and they recover faster from what we like to call failures, and they can better lead their team through difficult situations. And hopefully you can see why that's the case from all the things that we've talked about already. You're stronger as a person, you're stronger as a leader, your team will be stronger. When you have setbacks, and we all do, you'll just you'll fly through them, because part of it is you don't see them as failures, you just see them as a sort of blip on the journey that you will overcome. The second thing is innovation, creativity. Not surprisingly, leaders who've got a growth mindset encourage experimentation and innovation, again because they create a culture where people are not afraid to take risks, and they're not afraid to go with bold ideas. And again, I've been using a growth mindset approach for years. Some of the projects that I've been leading on in the past, and in fact I've taken over a new team recently, and one of the things I've said to them is, look, we need to solve some problems, go away and have a think about it, but take away all the constraints. Think about what the solution is first, and then add the constraints in afterwards and see whether it makes any difference and whether we need to tweak and adjust the solution. But if you put them in at the start, you're not going to get bold solutions, bold new ways of doing things. You're just going to get the same old thing, and you're just going to get the same old result. And again, this is because failure is seen as part of the learning process. And therefore, creative solutions and creative people thrive. It helps with development and empowerment. Growth-minded leaders prioritise development of their team. They're not interested in having all the knowledge, all the power, doing all the work. What they're interested in is sharing that knowledge, helping people develop, and nurturing and improving everyone so they know as much as you do. But that requires a lot of time and effort. And if you go back and watch the video I did about the absolute best leadership style, the style that I advocate takes a lot of time and effort, but you'll have a much better team, you'll have a much stronger team as a result. And that's through coaching and mentoring, and it also leads to higher performance and stronger loyalty as well. So people want to hang around longer because they've been allowed to get on and deliver. They've been allowed to be an adult. They're allowed to be creative. Why would you not want to be in a situation and a team like that? The other bit is about feedback and learning. So growth-minded leaders actively seek out feedback, both positive and critical, and they view it as an opportunity for self-improvement. It doesn't mean they have to listen to everything, doesn't mean they have to do something about every piece of feedback, but listen to it with an open mind and thinking, well, is that relevant? Do I want to change that? Do I think I'll be a better leader as a result, or a better person? It's about being open to challenging and challenging the way that they work. And you can see therefore why somebody with a growth mindset continues to develop, continues to grow throughout their career. As it says there, they just continuously evolve. And again, you see some people, and I've had them in teams that I've taken over, where they've said, well, look, I'm a few years from retirement, why do I need to develop? Well, why wouldn't you want to develop? And if you've got that attitude now, how long's it been since you last developed? And as I said before, if you're not developing, you're in effect going backwards. All of this has a positive impact on culture, and if you can get the culture right in your team, you've cracked it. Leaders with a growth mindset influence the overall culture, and that's promoting, collaborating and reducing fear and failure, encouraging learning, and developing a high performing, engaged workforce that's again better equipped to deal with the challenges that inevitably we all have to deal with. And again, I've seen this with my teams. You know, I've seen equivalent teams that are struggling with the same problem, you know, and my team doing similar sort of work. You know, they're okay with it. You know, you think, well, I wonder if they're troubled and struggling with it, and they're just going, no, it's fine, we'll just crack on and sort it. So this is why it's important to have a growth mindset for you as a leader, but also for your team to have a growth mindset. So finally, I just want to talk through some practical strategies for you as a leader. And again, there are 5 things I want to talk about here. So the first thing is embracing challenges. So step out of your comfort zone. Go and face difficulties head on, because if you haven't been doing that because you're scared of failing, turn it on its head. Have a growth mindset. Don't see failure as failure. See it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And if you do, you won't be scared of failure. And what you'll find is that you might have some setbacks, but actually it won't be failures. You'll be more resilient and more adaptable. And the yellow bit is the suggestion for what to do. So, you know, tackle each task with determination and see any setbacks as learning opportunities. The second one is about learning from criticism. So seek feedback, you know, especially from people that you don't get on with or don't see the world as you do. That can help you see things differently, create a more robust approach to work. You can do things and solve problems in ways that you perhaps hadn't thought of before. So regularly ask for feedback, listen to it objectively, and don't take it personally. And I know that's quite hard to do, but once you've started practicing it and you've started getting feedback from people, you'll realise it isn't personal, it's just about helping you learn. And if you accept the feedback on that basis, you know, the sting goes out of it, and what you're left with is something that gives you some clues about what you could be doing differently and better. Item number 3 is about maintain your efforts despite obstacles and setbacks. So being resilient and being persistent. These are qualities that are essential to long-term success, and they are typical of people with a growth mindset. So as I said before, people who have got a fixed mindset, see a failure, they think, well, that's it, I can't do it, they stop. People with a growth mindset find ways through or around or over it, and that's why they tend to have more persistence and resilience. The other thing to do in the yellow there is set more long-term goals. So if you're heading in a direction and something happens and there's a setback or a failure, and there inevitably will be on projects and activities, as long as you can still head in the right direction, just see that as a minor blip in the journey. You know, it's knocked you off course, but get back on course and carry on to your destination. And what you can do with that as well is have a support network that motivates in tough times. And I think I've said before in videos, I've got a really good support network for me, and you know, I support my colleagues, where we can just say whatever we need to say and get things off our chest. You definitely need to have that. Item number 4 is celebrating effort. So don't just focus on the end result. Think about all the effort and all the progress that's being made as you're getting towards your goal. So this is about reinforcing the importance of hard work, learning, perseverance, and try and acknowledge and share stories of, you know, effort that's led to eventual success, to inspire others and reward people for doing that. Don't just reward the ones who have got the results, especially if they've got the results easily and, you know, haven't had to put as much effort in as others who may not have got there yet. But, you know, reward progress, and again you'll start to see a really positive reaction to that approach. And finally, lifelong learning and curiosity are crucial for maintaining a growth mindset. So constantly seek out new knowledge, new ways of doing things, keep your mind open. And the top tip here really is go and watch YouTube videos about things you've perhaps got no interest in. You might have an interest in it, you just don't know. And what I've found over the years is there are loads and loads of things that I didn't know existed, and it's like somebody's opened a door to a new world that I wasn't aware of. Just randomly try looking at YouTube videos. Go and pick a book up and just have a look at it. If you like a particular news channel, or go and have a look at a different one. Go and look at different types of film. Listen to different types of conversation. Do something that takes you outside your normal field of expertise, and you'll be amazed at how you grow as a person and how many things are interconnected, and that you can use in your career and life. So that's it. I hope you found that useful. I say this is one of the videos I've been waiting to do for ages. I was just trying to sequence it so it built on some of the things that we've already talked about in previous videos. As I said before, I really want to try and get to as many people as possible with these videos. So please like, please subscribe, please share it with others. Let me know in the comments how this works for you. Start using it. Start using it for yourself, for your team, and let me know what a difference it's made, because I guarantee it will make a difference. That's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.